Right, I was saying for ya san ba biem say dem share mo bo ebra na e wo ogwama he na hemfie say be san ba na abeso mo ya bedru the University of Cape Coast na ha na na nyame adaroma yewura krob ya sante kotoko hene sabi edusuafo na school mu mpanyimfo so apon mu mpanyimfo ebo na baso na yenhwe asan ye beto aso ye nuanu bia bedru a yenhwe die kra wo no na ma yenhwe die kra wo no na yenfa nso ma hwefo dan na yenhwe ade ye o hwe we mu om say o ye Asante Student Union asu for your more University of Education we ba that's the main campus yes sir woman abuju say nti almost say ya kasa asu ado ma so say abusua kan okay nti almost say akwaba welcomes okay that's anyway nti yemben omo mpanyifo ni bi we ye ne ba ko nkasa na yenti okay asu
abusua yɛka abusua a yɛnyɛ so ne kan na sɛ wo nua anya a wo nua nso ɛno no sɛbi UCC ɛmɛnya nte yɛ sɛ kɔtɔkɔhene ne mmɔden mmɔ ɛne no tumi ne adwuma so a ɔyɛ ne Ghana man mu nti no ɔmo pɛ sɛ ɔmo ma no abɔsobɔdeɛ nti yɛte yɛ ne sɛ sɛbi yɛ soso Winneba ne UCC deɛ sɛbi ayɛ sɛ adeɛ baako sɛ yɛwura ba na sɛ yɛwura kɔtɔkɔhene ba deɛ a ɛne yɛ soso yɛntena sɛbi yɛsom yɛwura ne yɛwura so de asom asanteman ne Ghana man nyinaa nti yɛ so tutu yɛn na sɛ yɛfiri Winneba na yɛaba ɛno nti ne yɛbaeɛ
we na mo ya edusuafo mo University of Education we ni ba
mpakyɛw saa pɛpɛ
mo ye asante ko
yɛn nyinaa yɛ asantefoɔ pɛpɛpɛpɛ
okay okay ɛde na wo ka ɛde akyerɛ asante man ade hye Ghana man ogwaman wo mo a mo nya medru ha emeka adwuma bi
yɛbɛtumi aka kyerɛ me nua asantefoɔ nyinaa ne sɛ sɛbio ɛmɛ bi atwa me nkyɛn koraa kɔtɔkɔhene ɛyɛ yɛwura ɔka kyerɛ yɛn nyinaa sɛ yɛma yɛ asante sɛm nyɛ dɛ ɛhia yɛn saa asɛm no ɛda yɛ tirim yie paa ama mmabu no a sɛbio ɔmo suapɔn akɛseɛ wɔ Ghana nyinaa nso so no yɛso so yɛbɔ mmɔden sɛ yɛbɛtu ho anammɔ na ɛma yɛka ne sɛ yɛasante sɛm ahia yɛn nti deɛ mɛka ne sɛ mommɔ yɛmfa wɔ dɔ ɛne nkabom na yɛntena sɛbio wɛkyerɛ apɔtɔre a na sɛ wɛkyerɛ taa ɛma wantwi ba ama wanhwɛ a na akɔfa odwene aba ɔman yi mu wɔn nyinaa yɛnka yɛn ho mom na yɛntena sɛ adeɛ baako te sɛ ekura na yɛwɔ abatoɔ mmiri mu no nkabom na hia paa yi ɛyɛ onuadɔ ɛna ɔsɛ yɛde tena ɔman mu sɛdeɛ ɛbɛyɛ a ɛmfa ntɔkwa anaasɛ wie ne bia ɛma ebisi yɛwura kɔtɔkɔhene wɔ yi ɔno no ɔyɛ asomdwie hene kɔtɔkɔhene ɔyɛ asomdwie hene sɛ kɔtɔkɔhene yɛ asomdwie hene deɛ a na ɛyɛ asantefoɔ ne nananom nyinaa yɛso yɛpɛ asomdwie nti oguaman nyinaa Ghana man nyinaa yɛmfa ɔdɔ ntena ase na yɛnka yɛn ho mom sɛ Ghanafoɔ
matia me nyina kasa yie pa nti yɛn nyinaa yɛn nuanom a wɔn nyinaa asofoɔ yɛ a wɔn yɛ kɔtɔkɔ adehyeɛ ɛna nɛ wɔn fi ogua University of Cape University of Education ɛsɛ Winneba suapɔn mu ɛba ogua suapɔn ho na sɛ ɔyan ne tie sɛ yɛwura ɛba ha nɛ suapɔn a ɛwɔ ha bɛbɔ n'aba so nti sɛ bi wɔn bɛbɔ yɛwura akyi dɔm na biribi awie nyɛ saa matia asu
abusua ne yɛ so kan
Did you make abusua? Oh yeah. What's that time I work Kenya student then shut down your vibrant or na you can't say the Kenya auntie. Said yeah, you say Winneba and I can snap me kind very strong or so kaka can say omo aka na so that make us Kenya 4 years na ya auntie asuma say from one in nurture na especially one side education in nurture say oh say we no adwin say kasa asante a and na asante man tem kwa you know have full na and even bro region na bro is na bebre no aka na omu na yin say nipa ba when na asante fon kwa obi odi ani di masikadwa bia ya asante nti ya da masenya men kam yɛn no makasa ya wɔn so de wɔn de abeto dwa na wɔn yɛ Asante Student Union ya wɔn ɛwɔ University of Education wɔn ba sabre ti aba bedu ha nkyɛ kwa ebe wura hɔ na yɛ twɛn fun yɛ akyerɛ yɛ wura ba bedu yɛ adeɛ bɛkɔ so wɔ bi yɛ de bɛso wɔn na wɔhwɛ ha ɛne yɛ wura ne fo yin nko a ɛna atwa ha nyinaa ahyia yɛ ɛnyɛ yɛ wura fo yin nko a ɔhɔ yɛ akyi nso a asanteman frankaa no ɛne yɛ efiri suapɔn no mu wura suapɔn no mu a ano hɔ entrance hɔ ɛba nyinaa ohun sɛ asanteman frankaa ɛna atwa ahyia yɛ kyerɛ sɛ nnɛ nokorɛ deɛ ɔte kawa ne bra wɔn so dwumadie kɛseɛ paa ɛna ɛba abɛkɔ so saa bere kan ho na yɛnwura dan no mu beaeɛ a dwumadie no bɛkɔ so no na yɛmfa mu ama ne ɛbɔ no nsonson wɔ na biribiara nwie nti yɛnwura hɔ no afei dwumadie a yɛbɛkɔ so no yɛmfa ne nyinaa mu ama ne ɛbɔ nso mo bere a yɛwura abɛduru na nanom nyinaa nso abɛduru no Oh, yeah, my space will move.
Space is reserved for your people.
Beyond his contribution to peace and justice, Asantehene second has been an unwavering advocate for education and economic development. Recognizing the transformative power of education, he established Looking for Education Fund shortly after his entry. This fund, I'm happy to say, has provided scholarships and bursaries to over 300,000 students, enabling countless young Ghanaians from all regions, from all tribes, to access quality education and contribute to the intellectual and economic growth of our nation. His commitment for a vision for economic development is equally commendable. In 2019, he unveiled a 10-point development plan for Kumasi, aimed at industrializing the local economy, creating jobs, and fostering wealth within the region. This plan serves, I'm pleased to say, as a model for sustainable development across the country. Don't be shy, don't be shy. Our Honorary is a statesman of global reach. His influence extends far beyond the borders of this country. His timely interventions in matters of national and international importance have had a significant impact. In January 2016, the former President John for how His Majesty's advocacy at the IMF was instrumental in sustaining Ghana's economy. Such actions highlight his stature as a global statesman whose counsel is launched and on the world stage. Today, as we prepare to confer an honorary doctorate degree on His Royal Majesty, we do so in recognition of his extraordinary service in addition to his unwavering commitment to promoting unity, justice, and development in Asantehene and beyond. And it is my immense pleasure and privilege for the University of Lagos, the top-ranked university in Ghana, that is actually the top-ranked university. Before I invoke the powers that have been vested in me, I want to acknowledge the presence here of my dear wife. And now it's time to my blessing institute. Let me tell you, by the powers vested in me as a Chancellor of the University, I hereby constitute the Assembly into a special congregation for the purpose of conferring the degree of Doctorate.
Chancellor, I will ask them to all rise as we sing the UCC anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, we will listen to the Vice Chancellor's address. Help me welcome Professor Johnson Yankwa.
Thank you. Respected Dr. Sanjona, Chancellor, His Royal Majesty, for the second, Asantehene, Dr. Chris after the second, Honorary for the traditional area, that's Chairman of Council of State, Professor Harold Stewart Amodukofi, Chairman of Council, Ministers of State and Ministers of the Gospel, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the University of Cape Coast Governing Council, and I'm with the third Nigerian traditional area, and I'm present Professor Rosemont Abuadu-Abohin, the Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Mr. Ebenezer Agri, Acting Registrar, Vice Chancellors of sister universities, Pro-Vice Chancellors of sister universities present, former Vice Chancellors, former Pro-Vice Chancellors, Executive Secretary of UCG, Provost, Deans, Directors, members of communication, stakeholders of UCC and sponsors of the special congregation, friends in the media, Minister of Education, present here with us, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all. It is a great pleasure once again to have this opportunity to address this august assembly on the occasion of the conferment of honorary doctorate degree on His Royal Majesty for the second Asantehene. I wish on behalf of the Governing Council of the University of Cape Coast and management to add my voice to that of Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast to welcome all our guests from far and near who have come to witness this historic occasion. Sir Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, awarding honorary degrees to deserving individuals by higher institutions of learning has a long history and has been a tradition since the Middle Ages. The prize scholars tell us is said to have begun early in the 15th century, and since then it has become increasingly common to see institutions of higher learning across the globe awarding honorary degrees to distinguished individuals. Sir Chancellor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all over the world, the criteria for determining who qualifies for the award of honorary degree have been varied. In many instances, varied opinions have generated a great deal of debate, but By and large, the basic underlying principle has been to consider accomplishments, to look out for people with an outstanding intellectual and academic work of an exceptional and exemplary nature. Consideration has also been given to a person's distinctive creativity and contribution to the general welfare of society. In some cases also, service to the public with outstanding leadership in education, business, public service, or other appropriate sectors of society has attracted attention for consideration. Many people have also been awarded for their special service to the very institutions that are awarding them. Such many institutions of higher learning across the globe, particularly in Africa, have in the past awarded honorary degrees to traditional rulers and chiefs for their exemplary leadership and contribution to their respective societies. Consistent with global practices, the University of Cape Coast has a rich tradition of recognizing excellence and achievements and has in the past awarded honorary degrees to distinguished individuals, many of whom have contributed significantly to the advancement of society. So today's award ceremony will not be a first. However, this will be the third time the University of Cape Coast is conferring an honorary degree on traditional rulers in Ghana. The first was Honorary Paramount Chief of Asantehene traditional area, followed quite recently by our landlord, Dr. all from the central region. In this ceremony, the university will confer an honorary degree on His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei-Tutu. This will be the first award conferred on the King outside the central region by the University of Cape Coast. What makes today's award ceremony significant, however, is the fact that it is the first time the university community is publicly acknowledging the contribution of Asantehene. Sir Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, the contributions of traditional rulers and chiefs to the advancement of African societies have long been acknowledged and in most cases celebrated. Although the place of traditional rulers in modern democratic governance is still a subject of debate, what is increasingly clear is that many still find traditional rulers or chiefs as critical stakeholders in not just upholding the traditions of their people and communities, but in most cases, chiefs and traditional rulers still play an important role in the lives of many Africans. In many countries, traditional rulers play a preeminent role as mediators of violent conflict and champions of community development and transformation. It is in recognition of this important role of the institution of chieftaincy that the 1992 Fourth Republican Constitution of Ghana in Article 270 guarantees the institution of chieftaincy together with its traditional councils as established by customary law and usage. Sir Chancellor, Chancellor, consistent with global practices, I'm happy to inform you and all here in gathered that the management of the University of Cape Coast, on behalf of its academic board and social community, finds His Royal Majesty Utumfo Osei II more qualified by these parameters to receive the degree of doctorate in honorary course. Sir Chancellor, by the conferment of the degree on His Royal Majesty Utumfo Osei II, he becomes an alumnus of the University of Cape Coast. Other past honorary recipients from our university include His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Kufuor, former President of the Republic of Ghana, Osabarima, Dr. Kwesi Atta II, Sir Chancellor, I wish to draw your attention to the fact that the University of Cape Coast mandate, in the collective wisdom of its founders in the 1960s, was to champion the training of the country's teaching workforce. Although, with the passage of time and in response to global trends, we have expanded our programs to accommodate other disciplines. We are still committed to our traditional core mandate of teaching, research, and providing academic leadership within the educational life. Sir Chancellor, on assuming office as the Vice Chancellor of this university, my mission has been to empower UCC graduates to have entrepreneurial competencies in line with the government policy initiative on National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program intended to reduce graduate unemployment and promote job creation. Sir Chancellor, in May 2021, at a similar ceremony, I pledged our determination to complete all outstanding projects to enhance conducive academic environment. I'm happy to report that we have completed some of the projects and others are ongoing and near completion. Sir Chancellor, it is noteworthy to inform this August gathering that on Wednesday, 27th September 2023, the Times Higher Education released 20th edition of the World University Rankings, which constituted the 2024 World University Ranking results. The Times Higher Education World University Ranking is the most prestigious global university rankings among others. Sir Chancellor, I'm delighted to inform you that the 2024 World University Rankings had data submissions from 2,673 institutions across 108 countries, out of which 1,904 universities qualified to be ranked. The University of Cape Coast has retained its position as the topmost ranked university. Not only in Ghana, seventh on the African continent. The University of Cape Coast is also the only university in Ghana and West Africa that is in the top ranked universities in Africa. UCC has also maintained its position as one of the leading research-intensive universities globally. As an academic center of excellence, it is therefore justifiable to recognize and award an excellent leaders of our time, His Majesty Otumfuo Osei II, an honorary doctorate degree. Your Majesty, your leadership, vision, and unwavering dedication have profoundly impacted both your kingdom and the broader world. Otumfuo Osei II has achieved a lot in his lifetime as a great leader that time and space will not permit me to mention. Sir Chancellor, permit me to say that on behalf of the Governing Council, management, staff, and faculty of the University of Cape Coast, we salute Otumfuo Osei for his meritorious and distinguished service to the nation, particularly his commitment to promoting unity and development in Asantehene and other regions, as well as his significant contribution to humanity in the areas of water and sanitation, health, education, entrepreneurship, peace building, culture, and heritage. Your Majesty, as we bestow upon you this honorary degree, we are not only recognizing your profound contribution to Ghana, but also the invaluable lessons your reign has offered us in peace building and leadership. Your dedication to conflict resolution and the stabilization of regions within and beyond Ashanti Kingdom has been exemplary. It is in this spirit that we at the University of Cape Coast draw inspiration from your wisdom, particularly at a time when the university faces challenges that echo the past. In the late 1980s and 1990s, our institution was marked in what was infamously known as the era of the University of Constant Confusion. During these years, external pressures and internal discord sowed seeds of instability, disrupting our academic environment and tarnishing the reputation of this great university. However, through the collective efforts, the university regained its footing, ushering in an era of stability and remarkable growth. Under my leadership as Vice Chancellor, we have witnessed both infrastructural development, enhanced research capabilities, and the establishment of globally recognized centers of excellence. The university's academic standards have soared, elevating our global ranking and attracting scholars and students from around the world. These achievements have positioned UCC as a beacon of higher education in Africa. To Today, however, we face new challenges, one that threatens to unravel the progress we have made. Recent attempts to undermine the leadership of the Vice Chancellor and reminiscent of the uncertainties that once plagued our university. Such actions, driven by external pressures, risk plunging us back into an era of confusion and instability. It is at this critical juncture that we turn to your leadership, Your Majesty. We face challenges today, particularly within our beloved University of Cape Coast. We are reminded of the need for unity and wise leadership. The turbulence that once characterized our university has threatened to re-emerge. But it is true, the guidance of leaders like Goodwill the second, that we can navigate difficult times. His Majesty's presence here today is not only celebration of this achievement, but also a call to action. We must draw from the shared history, embrace our differences, and work together to ensure that the University of Cape Coast remains a beacon of excellence. Your Majesty, we invite you to join forces with our respected Chancellor, Sir Jonah, and Pastor members here the second of our traditional area in leading efforts to maintain peace and stability at the University of Cape Coast. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in celebrating His Majesty Otumfuo Osei II, a leader of extraordinary vision and people of holy forest. Thank you for your attention.
Pretty shortly we would witness the conferment of the honorary degree on His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei II. Ahead of that, we're going to have a musical rendition by 7 from the Department of Music. I respectfully ask that you rise as your citation is read by the Pro-Vice Chancellor of UCC, Professor Asantehene.
A direct descendant of the founder of the Asante Kingdom was Tutu the First. You ascended the golden stool on 26 April 1999 as a 16th Asantehene. From early childhood, you came under the tutelage of your uncle, Ohineba Mensah, who saw to your childhood development through careful grooming in Asante traditions and statecraft. In 1964, you started your elementary education. Your secondary school education took you to Sevier Secondary School in the Western North region of Ghana. But you returned to Kumasi in 1969 and enrolled at the Osai Free Trade Secondary School. In 1971, you moved to Accra to continue your education at the Institute of Professional Studies, Lagos, for a course in accountancy. 2 years later, you journeyed to the United Kingdom to continue with your accountancy studies at the Goodwill Polytechnic. Later, you attended the University of North London, where you studied human resource development and public administration. Your Majesty, you returned to Ghana in 1989 to establish your own business, Transformate International, Ghana Limited. Your international exposure paved the way for you to gather a wealth of experience as consultant with Mutual of Omaha Insurance Company of Toronto between 1981 and 1985. Finance officer at the British firm Oxon, London, and as personnel administrator at the Manpower Services Commission attached to Brent Council in London. Your natural gift of calm and radiance inspires loyalty and serves as a motivation for those around you. Your diplomacy and tact among your peers is easily recognizable and complements your traditional leadership qualities towards reconciliation. In 2012, you demonstrated your love for peace and democracy by convincing leaders of the various political parties in Ghana to sign a pledge to ensure peace before, during, and after Ghana's presidential and parliamentary elections. You also embarked on a historic trip to Seychelles Island, where one of your predecessors, Pembe I, was exiled to by the British for resisting their imperialism during his reign. To encourage religious dialogue, you addressed the Chatham House in the United Kingdom on the need for a forum for dialogue among the various religions and proposed the creation of a forum akin to the World Economic Forum for the pursuit of such a dialogue. Among many plaudits, Your Majesty, you stand out as an astute statesman with high pedigree in the foundation of cooperation in both traditional and modern trends. You have initiated projects that have put your traditional leaders into a new learning process that enables them to lead their people in community development programs, as well as create awareness of the value of our cultural heritage, including arts and artifacts, as well as the traditional court systems in conflict resolution. Your Majesty, the unique brand of your leadership has endeared you to Asante in particular and Ghana as a whole. As Asantehene, you have instilled peace and stability in your governance style among your people, as well as encourage them to pursue arbitration instead of litigation, especially in numerous land and succession disputes that have plagued Asantehene for decades. Over the period of your reign, Asantehene, you have brought peace and reconciliation to Asante. Your ability to settle over 500 land and chieftaincy disputes, which would have sparked agitations among your people and elsewhere, is commendable. You remain one of Ghana's sought-after leaders in traditional matters. As a traditional leader, your leadership and negotiation skills came to the fore when the state, recognizing the respect that you exude, made you the arbiter of peace in Dabo, and appointed you chairman of a committee of eminent chiefs to resolve the Yendi scheme affairs, a task you successfully accomplished to the admiration of all, including the ruling parties. In recognition of your immense knowledge and contribution to education, government appointed you Chancellor of the Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Kumasi. You are and tenacity of purpose in health and economic development. Among other things, you have taken a number of initiatives to the benefit of many people. Some of these include the Otunfo Education Fund to generate resources as an effort to provide opportunities for quality primary, secondary, tertiary, and vocational education in Asante and Ghana as a whole. In 2000, you embarked upon a vigorous campaign to draw attention to the benefits of individual and group sponsorship of the education of orphan children. Since its inception, the Otunfo Education Fund has benefited over 100,000 students at various levels of education. The measure of the above foundations under one umbrella of the Otunfo Osei II Charity Foundation, whose mandate appears unrestricted and currently doing remarkably well in the areas of supporting people in different spheres of endeavor. A health fund established to pursue basic healthcare plan with clear objectives that include financial and infant mortality, glaucoma, and other eye diseases, ruling ulcer, which has become the bane of many rural dwellers in the country, as well as the eradication of the guinea worm disease. Supporting the Rotary Club's campaign to promote inoculation of children against the 6 killer diseases, including polio. In recognition of your contribution to education in Ghana, the Association of Commonwealth Universities conferred on you the Simmons Award in April 2000. You have as well received honorary doctorate degrees from Essex County College, Newark, USA, 22nd May 2001. University of Maryland, Eastern Shore, USA, 25th May 2001. Savannah State University, USA, 6th June 2001. University of Glasgow, Scotland, June 2001. Alumni University of Science and Technology, 15 December 2001. University of Ghana, Legon, 12 March 2004. Igbinidon University, Okada, Nigeria, 25th November 2007. Metropolitan University, London, 10 December 2007. And University of East London, 10 September. The approval of the government of Ghana for a pilot project entitled Promoting Partnership with Traditional Authorities Project. This singular initiative has challenged traditional leaders to demonstrate their capacity by using their own resources to augment the financial support made available by either the government or the World Bank to help develop their respective communities. Under the project, new school buildings have been built, old ones rehabilitated, and teachers' residential quarters constructed and provided with potable water and electricity. HIV/AIDS and general health campaign in cooperation with the state agencies has been stepped up in the rural areas too. Your Majesty, you have brought to yourself many world leaders, including being the guest and host of Queen Elizabeth II of Great Britain. His Excellency Usmuru Kofi Annan, former UN Secretary General, President Thabo Mbeki of South Africa, President Nelson Mandela of South Africa, Mr. Don Makinu, Commonwealth Secretary General, the President of Ethiopia, the Holy Father Pope Francis, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Right Reverend Justin Welby, President Al-Hadi Tidan Kaba of Sierra Leone, President Muammar al-Gaddafi of Libya, King Mohammed VI from Morocco, President Hans Paula of Germany, President Jakaya Kikwete of Tanzania, King Mswati III of Swaziland, Alpha Konari of Mali, Blaise Compaoré of Burkina Faso, Laurent Gbagbo of Cote d'Ivoire, Messrs. David Koufouis and James Koufouis, both former presidents of the World Bank, Prince Al-Wahid bin Talal bin Abdulaziz Al Saud of Saudi Arabia. His Royal Highness Prince Julian head of worldwide Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission, the Archbishop of Canterbury, King of Babo King of South Africa, President Levi Patrick Mwanawasa of Zambia, Sabasaj Roland Luwenda Mutebi II, the Kabaka of Uganda in Uganda, Mr. Nkapa, former President of Tanzania, and Princess Maha Chakri, Crown Princess of Thailand. Your Majesty, you have the privilege of addressing international and national fora and a number of business gatherings in Africa, Europe, and the United States. These include the International Cocoa Organization, London, the plenary session of the Economic Commission of Africa, Addis Ababa, the Distinguished Africa Address at Harvard University, the United Nations General Assembly High-Level Forum on the Culture of Peace in New York as keynote speaker on 30 September 2019, bilateral talk with the President of National Congress of States hosted by the President. Your Majesty, you also visited the International Tribunal for Rwanda, where you had discussions with members of the tribunal and exchanged ideas on alternative conflict resolution in Africa. Your Majesty, you established the Asantehene Economic Revitalization Plan to promote private and corporate investment in local industries, reforestation, and irrigation program. Your reign as Asantehene has seen rapid growth and development of Asantehene and its environment in health, education, culture, and business. The unity of purpose and discipline among your subjects is an admirable trait of a wise leader. Your Majesty, Otumfuo Osei II, the University of Cape Coast salutes you for your meritorious and distinguished service to the nation. As well as your significant contribution to humanity in the areas of water and sanitation, health, education, entrepreneurship, culture, and heritage. Purveyor of traditional jurisprudence, advocate of rule of God, promoter of peace and stability, visionary and generational thinker, entrepreneur, advocate for preservation of culture and heritage, statesman, distinguished traditional leader and role model. Please step forward to receive your degree.
by His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Dr. Osei.
So, I hope you would permit me to go ahead without going through what you said in terms of recognizing people here in relation to protocol. So, let me express my profound gratitude to the Chancellor, Chair, members of Council of this great institution for the honor bestowed on me this morning. So, it is an honor I accept with humility and proudly share with Nananum, whose joint efforts have contributed to everything we have achieved in the 2025 years. And they are well represented here with my brother, Rationale, who is the chairman of the Council of State. They've all been very supportive of me within the last 25 years. And I'm going to Alumni and everything. So, the establishment of one institution may not count very much in the scheme of national development. But I will suggest that one of the many visionary acts of our first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, was a decision to establish a university focused on education with the task of producing the quality manpower needed for the education of the people of Ghana. And there could not be a better place to have the honor of hosting such a university than the city of Cape Coast. Your city is where the light of higher education in this nation was lit, inspiring a thirst for knowledge and drawing thousands from every corner of the land to drink from its fountain of knowledge. So, we owe it to the churches for their initiative in establishing and laying the foundations of secondary education on a grand scale. So, from Asantehene and Wesley Girls School to Adisado College, Holy Child, and St. Augustine, the Methodist Church, the Catholic Church, and the Anglican Church led the way in providing the best in education and in conditions of gender equality long before the value of inclusivity gained universal acceptance. So, this university, on whom we have to depend for the training of our teachers, stands as the crowning jewel of the city of enlightenment, from whose commanding hills and sandy beaches millions of the best brains in our land have been molded, have grown the best talents who have kept the administration of our nation. So, this university began life in 1962 as the University College of Education, in a special relationship with the University of Ghana, Lagos, with the prime mandate of producing graduate teachers to meet the manpower needs of the Ghana Education Service. So, it seems unbelievable today to recall that its total enrollment as at that time was 155 students, split between two departments, the Department of Science and the Arts. And the whole concept was deemed controversial in some circles. However, it survived the political upheavals of the period, and in 1971, it attained the status of a fully fledged university with the right to grant its own degrees. So, the mandate of the university was expanded beyond the needs of education, and today it is a budding community of over 75,000 students from all disciplines. So, the founding fathers and their pioneering administrators have every reason to be proud of what they have bequeathed to the nation. And long may we continue to herald the achievements of this university. But even as we exalt these achievements and honor those whose hard work has made it possible, we cannot but pause and reflect on the fates and fortunes of the single subject for which this university was created, and I speak of education. So, it remains quite problematic to me that 60 years down the line, we are still grappling with the same challenges that informed the decision to establish this university in the first place. So, some historical background may be appropriate here. Although the Gold Coast carried the tag of a model colony, less than 10% of our population had been to school by 1951, when the people were allowed to elect the first nationalist government led by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah under the limited self-rule mandate. So, the government took the view that education was the key to the development of the country, and consequently, launched the accelerated education program to accelerate the pace and level of education. So, additionally,
a program of adult education was launched to drive them from mass literacy. In 1951, total enrollment in primary schools was 154,000, middle schools 66,000, secondary and technical schools 3,550, teacher training colleges 1,960. The total enrollment of the University College, the forerunner of the University of Ghana, Legon, was 208 students. By 1961, enrollment had zoomed to over 210% for primary schools, 142% for middle schools, a staggering 438% for secondary and technical schools, 137% for teacher training, and an astonishing 478% for universities. So, it is important to note that the bulk of this expansion was funded by the state. Indeed, even the churches which had been carrying the financial burden of education at the height of the colonial administration were required to gradually disengage. So, following the overthrow of the First Republic, the eminent scholar Processional headed a commission to undertake the first of what has become a seemingly unending series of reforms of the education system. The Papon Committee recommended the adoption of 6 years of primary school followed by 4 years of secondary education with 2 years of advanced education leading to a 3-year university course. So, less than 4 years after the Papon reforms, another military coup led to the establishment of another committee, this time led by the Dean of the Faculty of Education of this university, Professor N.K. Zobo, to review the reform. The Professor Zobo Committee based social equity a fundamental thrust in the delivery of sound educational outcomes, arguing against the common entrance examination for the selection of pupils for secondary schools, as skewed in favor of children of the elite in society. So, specifically, it recommended a new system which retained the 6-year primary school system, but split the secondary system into 3 years of junior high school and 2 years of senior secondary school lower division and 2 years of senior and secondary upper division. So, the Zobo report formed the basis for the far-reaching reforms of 1987. In preparing for the restoration of constitutional rule in 1992, the Republican Constitution provided for free compulsory education for all children of school age within 10 years. So, the new government led by Flight Lieutenant Robinson's government launched a program of free compulsory universal education in 1996. So, in a seminal study for the British Department of International Development, Nimoy Thompson and Leslie Kasireko observed in 2008. Broadly, the objectives of FU were in line with the recommendations of the World Declaration on Education for All, adopted after the World Bank UN-sponsored World Conference on Education for All in Thailand in 1990. The declaration stated that every person, child, youth, and adult shall be able to benefit from educational opportunities designed to meet their basic learning needs, and all countries were required to achieve universal basic education by the year 2000. So, the rollout of FQ was followed by a National Education Forum in November 1999 to examine the prospects of Ghana moving towards compliance with the World Declaration on Education for All. Barely 2 or 3 years after, in 2002, another education sector review was undertaken to examine the outcome. Since then, every government has undertaken a serious review of education system. The troubling factor, however, is that each review has either been driven by austerity or constrained by fiscal malice and not necessarily by the desire to achieve their stated goals. So we have to live constantly with the contradiction between governments holding education as a high priority only for education to become the first casualty of any fiscal downturn. So, against that background, the mixed response to the recent free senior high school scheme has not been a surprise. So, the Minister of Education here would want to do more, but he doesn't have adequate funds to do what he wants to do. So, there's no doubt that the free senior high school program is the most audacious piece of social intervention intervention in our Fourth Republic. The pre-independence program for free education covered primary education and later the university. The secondary sector was beyond the capacity of the state. None of the reforms since have dared move the dial through that space. The decision to take the plan, therefore, had to be truly ambitious, and it is no wonder it has kept education at the top of national discourse. So, there is undoubted merit in the government argument that if we are preparing our children to compete in the global economy of today, then they should be entitled to the same level of basic education as children in other climates. Since basic education elsewhere encompasses secondary or high schools, it's only fair that we also upgrade our basic education. In that sense, therefore, offering free senior high school is doing no more than meeting the obligation to provide the basic education for all. So, it is not only in Ghana that this becomes relevant. In a background paper prepared for the International Commission on Financing Global Education Opportunity, Shakira Mustafa and Phillips Krantz noted with reference to primary schools products. The completion of primary school is no guarantee that children have acquired basic academic skills. So, surveys in a number of low-income countries document that many adults who have received some schooling 5 to 6 years or less are functionally illiterate or enumerate. So, that is an experience Ghana identifies with, and it addresses the case for upscaling basic education. So, but this cannot be that simple. It only underscores the enormity of the challenge associated with the changing dynamics of education and nation building in our times. So, Ghanaians assert education as a basic right of every child. All nations signed up through the United Nations and its agencies to provide basic education for all. In Africa, education is deemed so critical, the African Union has declared the year of African year, this year, the African Year of Education. So, in Ghana, it has been part of the objective of every government from as far apart as the nationalist government of limited self-rule in 1951. We see it not just as a human right, it is an economic necessity, an investment in the economic and social well-being of every nation. In the background paper already cited, the authors made the point that when any child fails to acquire basic skills needed to function as a productive, responsible member of society, society as a whole, not to mention the individual child, loses. The cost of educating children is far outweighed by the cost of not educating them. So, yet, though the cost of not providing education would ultimately be higher, nations have to contend in the first place with the overriding problem of mobilizing the resources needed to invest in education. Without the resources, even our most desirable goals cannot be achieved, and that sadly has been the problem not only for Ghana, but for Africa. It is the reason we would like to make sure that our ambitions are matched by our pockets. So, as we have already noted, every educational reform undertaken in Ghana has been driven by financial constraints and rising from national economic matters. Whereas in the developed world, educational reforms are undertaken to ensure the content of education matches the economic and social needs of society. Here we are driven solely by what is available to spend in the fiscal space. So, it is for this reason that even an audacious scheme like the free senior high school, as I've mentioned, which one would expect to receive universal acclamation has instead been merged in some controversy, with some blaming it for exacerbating the fiscal malice of the economy. And yet, even with that program, Ghana has yet to reach the universal benchmark for national spending on education as a percentage of gross domestic product. So, in the latest UNESCO World Education Finance Watch Report of 2024, the scorecard which monitors progress towards achieving the universal benchmark for spending on education showed that abroad, only the high-income countries are more likely to be classified as either having achieved or having a high probability of 75% of achieving the 2025 benchmark for spending on education.
So,
the good news for us, however, is that Ghana is one of the only 15 developing countries confirmed as being on track to reach the benchmark in 2025.
So,
in effect, assuming the current program continues, we should meet a universal benchmark for spending on education to GDP. That certainly should be welcome. But if the focus is on the rebalancing of resources, the effect we will stay at more each than might.
So,
every dramatic increase in enrollment affects the physical resources and infrastructure of schools, affects learning materials, and above all requires a corresponding increase in the number of qualified teachers. Beyond these, as we have experienced more than once in the past 2 decades, every expansion at the secondary level has a huge impact on the tertiary sector. And yet, at no time have we seen an attempt to coordinate the implementation of any secondary sector reform of the universities. When at a stroke, enrollment in senior high schools are doubled, the universities have to brace themselves for an inevitable surge in demand for undergraduate studies, with no prior consideration for fiscal resources. Our universities are already bursting at the seams, with rising student population virtually overwhelming fiscal resources and infrastructure.
So,
it should be obvious that important as the senior high school may be, focus on it should not lead to a misalignment of resources, nor should it become the focus of all attention in national discourse. Rather, we should recognize the necessity to look at the challenge of education in its totality. First, we may do well to re-examine the structure of the education system from primary to secondary to tertiary education. Is the separation between junior and senior high school working? What has become of the products of junior high school who are unable to proceed to senior high school? How functional have the vocational institutes become? How relevant have they been in the job market? Is the system providing for the critical middle level needs as we expected the polytechnic and technical universities to provide?
So,
secondly, we need another look critically at the finance of education. What resources are available and how they are allocated to the various levels to ensure equity. This is at the root of all the discourse. Education is an expensive investment. The expenditure on buildings alone is huge, but buildings alone do not provide education.
So,
learning and teaching materials must be available. In the 21st century, there should be no school without computers, without the means to provide the basic ICT skills. And we should ensure our teachers are reasonably remunerated for the critical service they provide.
So,
thirdly, we need to reappraise the content of education from pre-tertiary to tertiary to see how far they go to meet the needs of the economy and society in this fast-changing world.
So,
there are many areas of the system crying for updating and many anomalies requiring correction. The ongoing prioritization of STEM education is a step in the right direction, but it's necessary to caution about the risk of restricting it to an elite class and leaving the broader system with no knowledge of these critical skills.
So,
for the sake of equity, we should ensure equal opportunities for all to acquire these vital skills in the education journey.
So,
education must lead the nation's response to the incredible challenges of climate change.
So,
if we are to fully appreciate the gravity of the threat to our planet and come to terms with what needs to be done to obviate the consequences, our education system must infuse in us, from the pre-primary stage to the tertiary, the science and the knowledge to guide our actions. It is the only way we are going to make it possible for our communities to appreciate the necessity to protect our forests and our river bodies and restore the respect which our forefathers had for their environment.
So,
we need to reflect seriously on how we refocus education to guide us towards a sustainable world.
So,
I'm sure this audience will share the need for considerable reappraisals at the tertiary level to ensure our investors are fully aligned to the needs of society. It is right for the nation that we seek to maintain high standards in our universities, but it will be astonishing to demand higher entry requirements for some courses than the renowned Ivy League or Osbury universities in the United States and Europe. So I find it incomprehensible that we have deliberately capped the number of students our universities should admit for medicine and law, even though we have a huge vacancy of doctors and a large number of students who have met all the qualifying standards. So we have the absurd situation in which parents of Ghanaian students have to find foreign exchange to send their children to Europe and other places to study medicine abroad, and then return to be employed by the Ghana Health Service. So, assuming there are some impediments in the way of increasing the intake of students, would it not make more sense to remove those impediments to allow for all qualified students to gain admission, and perhaps offer space for foreign students who pay as in foreign currency? So, beyond these key professions, it remains a sore issue whether our education system is producing the skills set needed to keep business and industry moving. But however we may try within the educational establishment to refocus education, it will be to no avail unless we can get the national economy into good shape. So, it remains incontrovertible that only the state can deliver the resources needed to achieve the goal of education for all. And only a strong, resilient, and sustainable economy can generate the needed resources. So, because education is so critical for the state, and the state is correspondingly critical for education, I see the need for a special kind of relationship between the state and the education establishment. So, as a Chancellor and Chair, you will be aware that we made education the focus of our brain when we ascended the Golden Stool 25 years ago. So, as a concrete expression of our commitment, we established our education fund, which has become an example of the support that education can derive from non-state actors. So, I've also had the privilege to be the Chancellor of Primary University of Science and Technology. As Chancellor, by the way, I was appointed by the university, not the government. So, as Chancellor, I've had the task of lending support to the university establishment as it struggles to obtain the resources they need in pursuit of their goals, while through the education fund, we have tried to demonstrate what non-state actors within the community can do to generate resources to support education. So, combining the role of both the mobilizer and consumer of educational resources have given me a perspective from which to ponder some troubling questions. So, is education delivery the goals and objectives for Ghana? Has education delivered the intended outcomes? Has education justified the sacrifices as demanded of the people? Has Ghana education been truly fit for purpose? If these questions come as a shock to the nation, and probably more so to this audience, it can only be because we have avoided the need for continuous critical evaluation of the outcome of our investments, not only in education but in several other spheres. So, regardless of the lapses and shortfalls, it is incontrovertible that as a nation, Ghana has invested enormous resources in education. The explosion in tertiary education has produced a multitude of highly educated men and women with the skills set to manage and direct the affairs of the nation. So, in every sector of our society, our affairs are in the hands of actors who are not just educated but highly qualified. So, our political class, at both the executive and the legislative levels, with responsibility for policy formulation and direction, is led and dominated by men and women who are highly educated. We have a judicial service which is very highly educated. So, my lady Barbara. So, our banks and insurance services are highly educated. Our civil service is highly educated. Our customs and internal revenue service actors are very highly educated. Our police and security services are highly educated. Our military is highly educated. Logically, you would expect this output of highly educated leaders to translate into greater efficiency in the management of our affairs, particularly in the management of the national economy. So when I hear the endless lamentations about our economy is in distress, When I see our legislature in Goodwill unable to agree on issues of national interest, when I'm told about the declining public confidence in law enforcement, I can't help asking myself, is that what education can deliver for all our investment and all our sacrifices? We should not forget that financing education has required enormous sacrifices. Through the worst of economic circumstances, the state has been obliged to devote a considerable percentage of our tax revenue to education. Ironically, the bulk of this revenue will come from farmers, some of whom are the least educated and probably the poorer section of society. So we have the incongruous situation of the poor financing the education of the rich. Finally, we have the personal sacrifices parents make in the education of their boys. All these sacrifices are justified as investments in the future well-being of the boys in society as a whole. But if the outcome of education is to produce an army of skilled and able young men and women who cannot find jobs to aptly apply their acquired skills, and if continually we are confronted with questions about competency in the management of our resources, how can we respond to anyone who questions the ultimate value we place in education? By raising the question, we do not seek to cast doubt on the value of education per se. We are rather prodding the nation, and particularly academia, to be alive to the necessity of undertaking a rigorous evaluation of the outcome of education relative to the benefits accruing to the nation, to give us the tools to correct any lapses before public confidence is eroded. In fact, the situation we face reinforces the need for a special relationship between academia and the state. There was a period in our history during the First Republic when academia was deemed to be closeted in an ivory tower, a distance away from the real world. That is no longer an issue. You are as integrated into society and in tune with its cause as it is possible to be. You are the teachers who are preparing and mentoring the men and women who are taking control of our lives as political leaders, judges, economists, bankers, mandarins, diplomats, military and police officers. As teachers, you are like parents who should have a lifetime interest in the performance of your students. As their success inspires you, so their failure should burden you. Beyond the personal relationship between teacher and student, there's an even greater linkage that needs to be strengthened. The university is the storehouse of knowledge. All the knowledge required for nation building. More than the storehouse of knowledge, the university is the laboratory for research, cultivation and discovery of answers to the social, physical needs of society. We will all be aware of how much the works of universities have informed policies that have shaped countries and have revolutionary countries and societies through time. Much of the scientific and other discoveries that have revolutionized society owe their roots to the universities and to the collaboration between universities and either the state or private business. Unfortunately, in our country, there's hardly any evidence of the meaningful collaboration that needs to exist between the state and the universities. Perhaps one reason the role of academia has been downplayed is that we have allowed the abrasive political division to permeate our sacred campuses. Turn them into battlegrounds for partisan combat instead of havens for imbibing and dispensing knowledge. It is time, in my view, for all of us to wake up to the negative impact this has caused and make an effort to reverse the situation. Fashioning a new relationship between state and academia that engages the expertise of academia in the process of policy formulation on a continuous basis. I have no doubt about how beneficial it will be for the country to create a unique background of experts from academia, business leaders, traditional leaders and government, tasked to address the seemingly intractable problems of the economy. This could be the beginning of continuous collaboration between academia, the state and captains of business in finding solutions to many of our social problems. For this to happen, however, we will need academia to win itself of gross partisanship and cultivating and enshrine a culture of rigorous objectivity. So, this should allow the universities as a collective responsibility to establish the right mechanism for rigorous continuous evaluation of the performance of national institutions and help inject some efficiency into the system. So, help us inspire a new era in which the achievement of measurable national goals takes precedence over the pursuit of personal gains. So, with an environment in which the state can reach out across party boundaries to draw on the patriotic service of its estate without attracting unwelcome labels. So, the good thing is that there's more than a silver lining ahead. Ghana remains one country in which nobody can afford to lose confidence. So, given the combined human and natural resources at our disposal and the heritage from which we have grown, we will only fail if we want to. And I don't believe there's any Ghanaian who contemplates failure anytime. Let's hope then that we will not give in to any doctrine of despair, but rise with the challenge to herald a new era for Ghana. So, thank you.
Your Royal Majesty, you would take the alumni oath, and this would be administered by the National President of the UCC. To do us the honors, whilst His Royal Majesty takes the alumni oath.
Sir Chancellor, may I humbly pray your leave to stand on the protocol so established as administered alumni. Dr. Asantehene II, on behalf of the University of Cape Coast Alumni Association, I deem it a great honor to congratulate you on this achievements. We are indeed proud and honored to welcome you into the alumni fraternity. Your Royal Majesty, today you have become an alumnus of not just any university, but the #1 university in Ghana, the #1 in West Africa, and the #7 in the whole of Africa. You have every right to pride yourself in this. I know our friends from KU University, and others will not be happy, but it is what it is. UCC is the #1. Your Royal Majesty, you have also become an alumnus in a very good time, because next month, the Alumni Association is planning to launch the UCC Alumni Scholarship Scheme for Student Support. Initially, our target was 2 million cedis, but today we have changed our mind. Our new target is 3 million cedis. Your Royal Majesty, that goes to say that the extra 1 million is only yours. If you have your checkbook here, you can write it, or we come to mention. We'll talk about that. Please, let's take the alumni oath, Your Royal Majesty. So when I say I, you mention your name, then we take it from there. So I do solemnly pledge to fulfill my duties as an alumnus of the University of Cape Coast. I pledge to use my knowledge, skills and experiences to the best of my ability,
best of my ability.
For the advancement of learning.
For the advancement of learning.
And for the well-being.
And for the well-being.
Of my community and country.
My community and country.
I promise to be a loyal ambassador.
I promise to be a loyal ambassador.
For my university. And maintain a reputation. I will endeavor in all my dealings to be known as a person of honor and repute, to bring respect to my alma mater. So help me God. Congratulations.
That is a representation and portrait of His Royal Dr. Yao.
Sir, Chancellor, Chairman of Council, for Dr. Osei II, Asantehene Dr. Processional II, Vice Chancellor of Parliament, Minister for Roads and Highways, faculty members, management staff of the university, students, traditional leaders, our friends from the media. It's a great honor to give a goodwill message on this occasion. We have received a thought-provoking speech from the King. So, he said that there have been too many reforms in education, but his speech is a basis for another reform. So many questions were posed, and I was taking notes. Otumfo, your insights into education and what you have offered us today should be published, and I recommend that every graduate student of education must read this piece. Today, on behalf of the President of the Republic and on my own behalf, we congratulate you for the award of the Doctorate of Law degree, Honorary course. University of Cape Coast have done something great by honoring Otumfo. Said Chancellor, your university's record is there for the world to see. I went to KUSC, so I get this all the time. When I go to Lebanon, they will say we are the premier university. And I told Lebanon the last time I cannot deal with them because my boss went to Lebanon and another time before I went to Lagos, so I can't go on with that. Then when I come to Cape Coast and I hear the topmost university in Africa, how can education question an education institution being the best in the world? I can't question that. We have done so much for the world, done so much for Ghana. We celebrate you every day. You have transitioned very well from education in other spheres of human endeavor, and you have received well-deserved commendations from many, many organizations around the world. Today, I just want to say that I'm happy that Otumfo has been recognized by University of Cape Coast. The depth of knowledge and understanding in the field of education, when I heard you talking, said, wow. It was almost like he was reading a dissertation leading to the award of the Doctorate. So standing here, he has actually worked for the degree. The research that went into the speech and how well he delivered it. Otumfo, I probably recommend that you need another doctorate degree. And I just want to finally say that all of those who have gathered here to celebrate a great leader, and we are proud of the work that he has done for Asantehene, for Ghana, and for the world. So, Otumfo, today is your day. So I will be a man of few words. I will end here by saying congratulations.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Yao Osei. Ladies and gentlemen, I would ask that you humbly help me acknowledge a few individuals who have graced this occasion, and I'll start with our Honorary, His Royal Majesty, for Dr. Osei II, the Asantehene. We duly acknowledge the Obama hymn or Sabarima Dr. Pisata II. Help me acknowledge the Chancellor of University of Cape Coast, Dr. Sir Sam Ison Jonah. The Honorable Minister for Education, Dr. Osei Ejuchum. We duly acknowledge the Pro-Chancellor of UCC, Reverend Professor Harold Amon Kofi. We also acknowledge the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Johnson Yakubu. The Pro-Vice-Chancellor, Professor Mrs. Rosamond Bohene. The Acting Registrar of UCC, Mr. Ebenezer Agri. We also acknowledge the Chairman of the Council of States, Dasibre Otosripo II. Help me acknowledge the Penny Mother of Obaman, Nana Ekwa Bochi VI. We also acknowledge Nana Professor of Neba Boachi Eje Otumfo Hiahine. We are also acknowledging the High Commissioner of India to Ghana, His Excellency Manish Gupta. Help me acknowledge the Honorable Minister of Roads and Highways, Mr. Francis Asensokwachi. We duly appreciate the presence of the Honorable Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Madam Mavis Nkansa. We acknowledge the Honorable Member of Parliament for Cape Coast North Constituency, Dr. Pamela Mintanya. Help me acknowledge the former President of Pontifical Council for Justice and Peace, Vatican, His Eminence, Cardinal Peter Ujo Apiatex. We acknowledge a Justice of the Supreme Court of Ghana, Her Ladyship Justice Barbara Aka Yus. We also acknowledge the Supervising High Court Judge Marcy Her Ladyship Justice Hannah Taylor. Help me acknowledge the Methodist Bishop of Cape Coast Diocese, Right Reverend Richardson Abwaji Adam. We have in our midst and we duly acknowledge the former Electoral Commissioner and Chairperson of the 2024 Akasha Planning Committee, Mrs. Charlotte Osei. We acknowledge BC for Ghana Telecom University, Professor Emmanuel Mahini Akwapa. Professor Rita Akosia Dixon is Vice Chancellor, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. We extend appreciation to the Vice Chancellor, Akenteng Apiamika University of Skills Training and Entrepreneurial Development, Professor Frederick Bekusafo. Professor Peku Eyimwachi is Vice Chancellor, Cape Coast Technical University. We extend appreciation to the Vice Chancellor, Koforidua Technical University, Professor John Obusu. We acknowledge Dr. Cynthia Senak Pedro, Executive Secretary, Vice Chancellor's Ghana. Dr. Moses McLean Honorary is Registrar for the Takoradi Technical University. Mr. Michael Owusu Amoakon is Chief Director, Central Regional Coordinating Council. The Managing Director, Prudential Bank, Mr. Bernard Jebi. The Central Regional Managing Director for GCB, Mr. Anthony Sowa. We duly acknowledge Mr. Kofi Koproko, Rep of the Managing Director for Zenith Bank. We also acknowledge the following council members: Professor Eric Anani, Convocation Rep, Professorial. Most Reverend Titus Amochi Pratt. We acknowledge DCOP Patrick Edusei Sapon, retired. Let's acknowledge Dr. Jerry Okopansa, UTAC President. Mr. Vincent Odosiabi is SRC President. Mr. Mohammed Thompson is Charles Rep. Mr. Robert Imping NACO is Rasa President. Mr. Samuel Dansuakoto is the President of the UCC Alumni Association, and Mr. Benjamin Frank Hagan is a table rep. We duly extend acknowledgement to former Vice Chancellors, Pro-Vice Chancellors, and Registrars. I'll begin with Reverend Professor Emmanuel Ado-Obey. He's a former Vice Chancellor. Professor Joseph Gaziampia is a former Vice Chancellor, UCC. Professor George K.T. Odro is a former Pro-Vice Chancellor, UCC. Professor Dora Francisca Eduquando is a former Pro-Vice Chancellor, UCC. We duly acknowledge Mr. Jeff Tay Emmanuel Binyame. He is the immediate past Registrar. Professor John Nelson Kwa is a former Pro-Vice Chancellor, UCC. We also acknowledge former Vice Chancellor, Cape Coast Technical University, Right Reverend Professor J.G. Obusu-Setre. Professor Moses Jojo Egan is the College of Agriculture and Natural Sciences Provost. Let's acknowledge him, please. We also acknowledge the Provost of the College of Humanities and Legal Studies, Professor Kwame Osei-Kwarteng. We also acknowledge the Provost of the College of Health and Allied Sciences, Professor Martins Eko. We also acknowledge the Provost of the College of Distance Education, Professor Anochi Mohammed. Please help me acknowledge Professor Samuel Atu-Duncan of KUA, MS. Thank you very much, sir, for being here. Very grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I will ask that you help me welcome our Chancellor to duly dissolve this congregation.
Chairman of the Governing Council, Vice Chancellor, past Vice Chancellors, Vice Chancellors of sister universities, Honorable Central Regional Minister, Asantehene II, Honorary of Rationale, members of the University Council, Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Edutun, President, the Chairman of the National House of State, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Pro-Vice Chancellors, Pro-Vice Chancellors, and Pro-Vice Chancellors of sister universities, all other protocols duly observed. I wish to express my sincerest appreciation to all the distinguished honorary, the newly minted alumnus of this university, who is now an alumnus of this great university, and indeed all of us for honoring the invitation to be here for this special congregation. It is now my pleasure and indeed my privilege to declare this assembly duly dissolved. I wish you all a safe journey to favor.
Your Royal Majesty, Sir Dr. Samison Jola, I would ask that you permit me to acknowledge Dr. Isaac Ohene. He is a former registrar of UCC. Thank you for being here, sir. I'll call on Reverend Professor Kankamkweli to do us the honors with a closing prayer, after which we'll sing the UCC anthem. Thank you.
Humbly, let us be on our feet as we register our appreciation unto for what he has done for us today. And so, Father, once again, we register our appreciation unto you. We just start with your name, and this is how far you have brought us. Mighty Lord, we thank you for this opportunity, for listening, for hearing, and understanding the conferment
of His Majesty. We thank you, O Lord, that history has been made on this soil. We pray, O Lord, that the degree that has been conferred to His Majesty will be impactful on this soil. Above all, as we are living, we are asking that your presence will go with us. Now that He is face upon us and be gracious unto us. The Lord lift up His countenance upon us and give us peace today and forevermore. In your name we have prayed and given. Amen. Thank you very much. Please.
Right, I'm so funny. You go so I and Oguas your University of Cape Coast. On your buy at the Amadou and so what that's in no. You're a Crobia Asante Kotoko, the 242. Yeah, just me in there. Oguas your Pono, a born abaso with an honorary doctorate degree. You said you yeah, you're at the our very so why I was so Asantehene. Maybe I can't get and as you are born up on a muscle, yeah, has a process, yeah, a royal procession, and I ever, and so ever, you are, and after Doctor Samjuna, yeah, Chancellor at the Emma, the University of Cape Coast. And I hope you are Asantehene, and so Rebecca, you are 80 and a day. That's how great, you share the rosin, welcome, what they might you are. Like a car, now fit media say. Look at the excitement, the joy on the face. Right, I'm so funny. Sabre, right, I'm so funny. Sabre, you're a crop, yes, and take what for me. Well, I know, yeah, Aka, and I offer you, Oguas your poem, doctorate degree ɛka yɛwura ho na kae sɛ wɔanya berɛ yɛ ɛdi kan yɛ a ɔhene kɔkɔkɔ ɔhene kakraka ɔhene kɛseɛ ɔnya honorary doctorate degree ɛfiri berɛ a ɔhene bɛfra bɛnwa ɛneɛ doctorate degree akɛseɛ no ano wanya ɛwɔ suapɔn akɛseɛ yɛ a atwa yɛn ho ahyia wɔ wiase man mu nyinaa yɛ nnɛ nso twɛdi ampa na roma nti wei aba abɛka ho na yɛde ne nyinaa mu amanneɛbɔ ɛso mo na nokorɛ sɛ saa berɛ ti yɛwura ɛna atena te aseɛ nam mu yɛne kakrakrakra na yɛbɛtutu atatae na mo dodoɔ no a ɛso fo akyikyi ɛne bɛnkyerɛ bɛbɔ yɛwura kyidɔm ɛne adɔnten saa berɛ ɛyɛ santene dodoɔ biribi ɔno a ɛnɛ korɔ obi nya asɛm bi a ɛka ɔbɛyɛ asante kotokone ɔno ɛna ne te aseɛ nam ahyɛ aseɛ na ɛkorɔ ne yɛhwɛ adɔfoɔ ɛne nipadɔfoɔ no a ɛwɔ ha no the excitement on their faces ɛna afei deɛ ɔmo ka ɛde afa ɛnɛ dwumadie ho ne nyinaa yɛ yɛwura korɔbea asante kotokone ɛna the University of Cape Coast nano with an honorary doctorate degree. Now let's look at any area edi dwumadie nti nana sewa ɛne ɛne around here ready to day. Sasuna Nana Mampontin and Kwabre Mampontin. Miami Chrome Kwabre, Nana Subabeka, Legimade on Afe, Nana Makana, I just so mind him, Nana Yasantua, and Subeka, no and era 18 a day, and man, no yet. And I know the Donoa and the free Asantamemo, ever boy, Rachidom, and I don't say, said they didn't know one money about Esomo, Afe, Nana Contumpunia Ferry, Asante Kotoko, IMC, on a chairman, Nana Contumpunia Ferry, and I answer the county. Afei yɛhwɛ ha dasebe otu osiribɔ asante dwaben man hene ɛna afei nana mampɔ man hema afei nana akyiri nso aman hema ɛna asante akyem abobɔ man hema ɛna no nyinaa ɛba bɛka yɛwura ho ɛma ne dwumadie ɛkɔ so asomdwe so ɛma ne dwumadie ɛyɛ fɛ paa yɛ a ɛnyɛ asɛm ketewa nti sɛdeɛ mohwɛ na yɛde amanebɔ no so ho a na ɛnyɛ asɛm ketewa koraa nti nananom nyinaa ɛba bɛka yɛwura ho asante yɛ ɛma ne yɛfrɛ dodo asante yɛ ɛma ne yɛ akɔnɔ paa nti hu a ɛnana mampɔ man hema afei nana akyere nso aman hema dasebe otuo soro bɔ dwaben man hene agogo man hema ɛna afei asante akyem bɔmpata man hene nana ifa apɛntɛn wɔn nyinaa bɛka yɛwura ho ɛne yɛwura edi n'adwumadie ɛma bibia ewie yie saa ɛna ɛkɔ so nanom a ɛwɔ ha biara nanom dɔɔso ɛyɛ fidie ne ntumi ntwere nyinaa deɛ nanso yɛbɛbɔ yɛn ho mmɔden sɛ nanom dodoɔ no a yɛbɛhu deɛ yɛte wɔn nyinaa ɛho amanneɛbɔ bɛso mu ma ɔmo sɛdeɛ esi ateɛ na bibia nso akɔ so nti yɛnwura mu ɛna afei yɛnhwɛ nanom bi a ɛwɔ ha na yɛne yɛn so nkasa yɛntie deɛ ɔmo ɛka na nso hu sɛdeɛ esi ateɛ na bebree ne nana so kwae afei nanom aka yɛn nana yɛadeɛ nyinaa nana nti nananom dodoɔ no a na ɛbɛka yɛwura no ho ne yɛwura no di ɛnɛ da yi ɛbɛka yɛwura ho ma animuonyam hyɛ yɛ a yɛwura ɛnɛ wanya na bi aka asanteman na bi aka ghana mba nyinaa ewie yie sɛdeɛ ɛsi teɛ ananom aman hema dodoɔ no a ɛna ɛba bɛka ɔno ho ɛnɛ da yɛ sɛ wɔne na ɛsɛ ɔka kyerɛ kɔm sɛ miame nana nkwanta kɛse hene nana nso bɛka yɛwura ho ɛne yɛwura edi ɛnɛ da yi ɛwɔ oguasuapɔn mu nti na asanteman nyinaa ɛna ɛwɔ ase yɛ nsa ɛnyɛ asɛm ketewa wobɛdu ogua kuro yi mu a ɛne ɛfiri beaeɛ a ɛba University of Cape Coast no ɛwu sɛ billboards akɛseɛ yɛ a yɛwura mfonini ɛna ɛda so a de ba bɛdu suapɔn no ano na wobɛwura suapɔn no mu so a ɛne adan ahodoɔ ɛwɔ hɔ nyinaa ohun sɛ ahyɛnsodeɛ yɛyɛ asanteman frankaa wɔde atwa no nyinaa ho ahyia de ba bɛdu beaeɛ yɛ adwumadie ɛrekɔ so nti ɛsɛ w'ani na ɛsɛ ɔka kyerɛ koraa of course Cape Coast is a place to be as we honor these two great states the Owa state as well as the Ashanti Kingdom of the Republic of Ghana ɛyɛ kuma dwumadie no aba awieɛ afei na yɛ nananom yɛ bɛka yɛwura nom sane ɔdi dwumadie dodoɔ no a ɛfiri ha na sɛdeɛ mɛde aka kyerɛ no yɛnto yɛ boas na yɛnsua adeɛ kakra this is not the first time sɛ bi yɛwura onya honorary doctorate degree yɛwura nyame adaroma sikadwa adaroma ɔhene bɛfra bɛnwa abasobɔdeɛ bebree ɛna wɔnya yɛ ɛdɛ nso ɛyɛ part nti nana adankranya man hene nso ɛba bɛka yɛwura ho nana adankranya man hene ɔbɛka yɛwura ho ne yɛwura no mu ne da ewie yie paa adankranya ɛwɔ amanseɛ mpatam hɔ ɛwɔ asante mantam mu yɛka asanteman ho ɔbɛka yɛwura ho ɛnyɛ ɔno nko a dodoɔ no a ɛna baayɛ yɛ ne nyinaa yɛ the excitement a na ɛkɔ so ne da yi anyɛ obi mpo ɛna ɛbɛka kyerɛw nti ehu sɛ nana nkwanta kɛse hene otumfuo nipa hene yɛ ɔtɔ so mmienu nana aboakye yam yɛwura ɛnso ɛba bɛka nananom ho nananom edi ne da yi ɔdwenkyerɛ no bra yɛbɛkenka ne nyinaa de ama wo ɛbra yɛwɔ ha na yɛtwa mfoni wɔ ha sei na yɛne mo kasa na yɛdi nkɔmmɔ ɛma bibia ewie still fetu afahyɛ heat no ara na ɛwɔ mu a ɛnɛ wei deɛ ɛpra kwa mu kakra Asantehene yɛnhwɛ schools akɛseɛ yɛ a ɔana yɛwura mentumi nka ne nyinaa berɛ no nti ɛdɔɔso kakra yɛ a yɛbɛtumi no yɛnkenkan bi a na yɛmfa nkyerɛ ahwɛfoɔ na bibia nwie the list of universities a ana yɛwura ɔtumfoɔ Asantehene with honorary doctorate degrees a ɛnɛ University of Cape Coast ɛnso aba abɛka ho no yɛnhyɛ aseɛ na afei yɛnka ne nyinaa mu asɛm ɛmfa nkyerɛ and so our schools ne dɔɔso paa amatumi ɛbɔ ase na makyerɛkyerɛ ne nyinaa mu nso ɛde akyerɛw ɛnɛ deɛ ɛyɛ sɛdeɛ nyinaa yɛnim no ɛnɛ deɛ no ɛyɛ University of Cape Coast nanso aside University of Cape Coast no schools bɛɛ biem ɛna abɔ yɛ wuraba so yɛbɛka Essex County College ɛwɔ America aburokyimia no mu afe mpem mmienu ne baako in the year 2001 ɛna ɔana yɛwura otumfoɔ ɛmaa no honorary doctorate degree afei Savannah State University ɛno nso ɛwɔ afe mpem mmienu ne baako no mu ɛna Savannah State University ɛbɔ yɛwura aba so ɛdɔɔso na kakra yɛ a mɛkitua ka ɛbɛrɛ ma no kan ɛna mɛka ɛde akyerɛw afei University of Scotland ɛno nso wɔ Scotland United Kingdom ɛyɛ Ghana yɛnsuapɔn Yewura so Emma Yewura honorary doctorate degree. Sanso and a Metropolitan University of London. And so I think Pimiano and so the Metropolitan University of London about Asantehene Abaso with an honorary doctorate degree. Sanso and the University of London Akasa and so Yewura Baso with an honorary doctorate degree. KNUST Common University of Science and Technology. One also about Yewura Baso with an honorary doctorate degree. Yeah, and the Becca and home and man at this juncture, the Bebang Yasha say bet me nanom bi ya no eba ha bi akasa na tie de omo eka enso e de akyea na bibia enso awie ye ni na ye ogua fotu afahye yewura animonyam kese ya twedi ampo adaroma aba abeka nsa e bi aka Asantehene ene Ghana ma nyina na yɛbɛto aso abitibiti kakra banti yɛbɛte aseɛ saa na sɛ yɛbɛbɔ yɛn ho mmɔden biara sɛ yɛbɛtwe nkɔmmɔ na yɛtie deɛ anom nso ɛka ama biribia awie yie nti adwenkyerɛ no yɛnyi bi firi wɔ ɛba a yɛgu so ɛyɛ production no ana yɛnananom bi akasa fɔdwenkyerɛ berɛ a yɛnkenkan fa ma wo Prof. Asante Kɔtɔkɔhene ɛnɛ yi honorary doctorate degree me maame yɛne ne kasa berɛ a yɛbaa ahemfie na yɛkɔ yɛhyia wɔ ahemfie oh, okay. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, interesting. Now, you know, you share the excitement how it is. When you're Kenya, and no one who could be Asante Kotokoni. How was the feeling like? What are they saying about this great occasion? Of course, it's a one of a kind occasion. Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Okay, what's your name?
Mabel.
Mabel. Are you a native of Cape Coast?
Yeah.
Okay, is that where you stay?
I stay around.
Okay. On the heat for the Balfi to Afashe, we all understand and we also that the king of the Ashanti Kingdom, His Royal Majesty Otumfuo said to receive the honorary doctorate degree here in the University of Cape Coast. Is it your first time seeing the king of the Ashanti Kingdom?
Yeah.
What was it like when you first chanced on the king?
It was exciting seeing someone on the TV and seeing the person in reality. I think it's a nice experience. Everybody would like to see. Yeah.
We can see from what the traditional leaders are exhibiting. I mean, Osabari Makusi at Abubamahe and the Asantehene, about bonds, that unity that should exist among these two kingdoms, and of course, that will transcend beyond these kingdoms to the entire country. What is your message? You are a youth, that's why I'm asking this question. Recently, there's been that norm where you go on social media and you see youth of our land exchanging insults, trading insults among themselves. What is your message of unity to Ghanaian youth?
I feel if you see both kings uniting in this way, why should a mere citizen, sorry to say, fight over unnecessary reasons in court? Yeah, because even our rulers are united. Why should we partake in violence or so ever? So I stop if you are doing it.
Oyo gwani ya ofiri ya ne yini anuma wa ha no ya ne yenya akwanya be won no de ne dwumade ya omba kakra ya nso ka ya fa yen hwe say betimi ne yen papa no bi akasa na fe
Oye pa.
de nyame ase bachelor din say
Bacha mbizi Thomas Fofi.
okay wo ha ya na ofiri oh okay
Na mabomo obi kan mabomo medwa kakra wa ha.
oh okay
Nti ya Asante ku ye ku Asante fo ye tu bata fi mmea ba ha na ya kan ya ho bom nti asante ku yekuo nti me ne omo kyea me a otumfo ama yɛ sɔe nti me ne omo kyea me nti hu
Asante Krio Kuro ɛwɔ Oguama.
bashane
Ɛnna ne monya akwanya ahu yɛn nyinaa yɛwura mo nso mo wura. Sɛ na esi tie bra mo ni etwa yɛwura so.
oh nyamea no mukura in fact ayɛ ka bɛhɛ mmea mo ma di ka ehunu baako bɛ mfa sɛ bɛyɛ mfie mmiɛnsa ni nti ɔba na nyɛ adeɛ yɛ sonko ma me nti sɛ akɔyɛ sɛ ɔbae ama ekura mu ekura yɛ kenya paa ɛsiane sɛ dɔm bebree obiara ni hɔ a ohun otumfoɔ nti ɔbae ama ayɛ ahomeka paa ayɛ anigyeɛ papaapa ama yɛne ɛwɔ sɛbisɛbi yɛ central region anaasɛ cape coast man mu ayɛ ahohoɔ paa.
Asante Krio Kuro no kura obi kura busa sɛ yɛkasa Asante Krio Kuro a mo wɔ Oguama mu a dwumadie bɛn na mo die ne yɛ na mo yɛ de boa.
Oh dwumadi a yɛde boa sɛ wɔn a mefa sɛ yɛtu bata aba Oguama mu nti na yɛakeka yɛn ho abom nti yɛkɔba sɛ bi a obi ho kyerɛ anaasɛ obi nya asɛm a otumi bɔbɔ amane atumi tu anammɔn kwan ko yɛbɛfa so yɛbɛboa no yɛboa no nti na yɛwɔ hɔ no.
Ɛnna mo na mo de bibi mo present a portrait of yɛwura de ma.
Mpakyɛ daabi ɛno yɛ different
Ɛnzi ekuo na
ɛnzi ekuo na ebi mpakyɛ.
Ɛde asɛm na ɔka de akyerɛ Asanteman de ka.
Oh asɛm kakra a mɛka akyerɛ Asanteman anaasɛ asantefoɔ a wɔwɔ Oguama mu sɛ yɛwɔ kue wɔ ha nti wɔn mmɔden a wɔmfa wɔn mmɔbɔ yɛn sɛ asɛm mfa sɛ ebi a nkesi na bi a bibi tu a wobɛtumi abɛbɔ yɛ amaneɛ na yɛn nso yɛatu anammɔn nti na yɛwɔ ha ebitumi atu anammɔn na yɛaboa wo sɛ ɛbɛyɛ a wonkɔ ahiahia mu nti yɛsrɛ obi a wɔnte sɛ kue a wɔn mmɔden amfa yɛn ho mmɔbɔ yɛn na yɛn nyinaa yɛnka yɛn ho mmom ɛsɛ asantefoɔ nti mɛdɔm ase.
Amen. Asante Krio Kuro yɛ wɔ Ogua Chiame ne yɛne na kasa. Yɛ maame no wɔ ha yɛ mɛ yɛ maame no mɛ ayɛ nti na yɛtie deɛ ɛka. So it's all about ɛyɛ petu afahyɛ hit na ɛnɛ Asante Krio Kuro wɔn nso ba bi bɛka yɛwura ho na wɔ ase yɛ mɛ ɔhene ne ɔhene kasa. Yɛntie deɛ yɛ nana ɛbɔ n'aba so with an honorary doctorate degree. Nti ɔde wadwe nkyerɛ bɔ a yɛwie a yɛbɛto yɛbɔ ase sɛdeɛ yɛyɛ nda no ne yɛakenkan deɛ ama. Mɛmɛ ɔhene ne sɛ wɔda mu.
Nana akwabena sɛ agyeman asantefoɔ hene a ɔwɔ Ogua traditional area Ogua traditional council tena ase a meka wɔn ho nti yɛhwɛ Oguama mpuntuo ɛne deɛ ɛka ho bia yɛn nyinaa ɛka ho na yɛdwendwene ho.
Ɛnna yɛwura nyame adaro mu asekadwa adaro mu a ahosi a wadaro mu.
Wɔdeɛ mede bɛhoahoa me ho ɛfiri sɛ yɛmu bi baa kurom ha kyɛ yɛmu bi yɛdi bɛyɛ sɛ mfeɛ aduanan ne mfeɛ yɛhunu ade fɛɛfɛɛ te sɛ yi bi da sɛ yɛwura ɔtutu ne nan afiri opoku ware so yɛ bi na ɛno no anyɛ kɛseɛ te sɛ deɛ yɛhu ne nɛ yi nti asane kurom hia bɛn a woyerɛ wo dwabɔ ase deɛ ɛsrɛ ne sɛ wɔnom akuo no ɔmo ka ho no ɔmo mmɔden sɛ ɔmo bɛba bɛka ho na sɛbesɛbe nyɛ yie nkoa na yɛkɔ.
Yɛda ase paa. Ti abusua san na ɛkɔ so wɔ asɛ deɛ ayɛ ne nyinaa mu amanneɛbɔ ɛsom nti ɔmo yɛ na ɔmo kasa yɛ ɛyɛ asantefoɔ Krio Kuro yɛ a ɔmo wɔ Oguaman mu ha ɔmo yɛ asantefoɔ yɛ a bibi nti ɔmo abɛduru ha na ɔmo aka ɔmo ho abom na Ogua traditional council tena ase a ɔmo ka ho bi ɔmo de dwuma so wɔ mu paa yɛ a ɛnyɛ kuma yɛbɛtoa so na afei deɛ aka bia nso yɛde ne nyinaa asom ama bibia nso awie yie sɛdeɛ fa ne nyinaa nso mpem a na yɛnkɔ akyire yɛsan aba biam na yɛaba abɛsom mo Daniel Boyne sɛ God bless Otumfoɔ pia afei Richard Entwibafo sɛ enemies are okay ɛnokorɛ tamfo ho yɛnya abotire afei Mary Frank menim deɛ na wɔtwerɛtwerɛ mesrɛ mempɛ saa afei Black Julian say all eyes on you ɔhene baako pɛ Stephen Kwaku so nso hey Stephen mesrɛ sɛbi mesrɛ mpanyimfoɔ hwɛ mesrɛ saa nneɛma no yɛnyɛ no wɔ ha sɛ wonni biribi ka a ɛma ha obiara nsoma wo obiara mfa ntuo nsi wo so sɛ bra na bɛhwɛ kɔtɔkɔhene mesrɛ wo ɛma ha ɛmɛtwerɛ nsɛm a ɛnsɛ mfata yɛn mu bi deɛ Asanteman yɛwura no matete yɛn nti yɛnka nsɛmfunu nti mesrɛ wo ɛma ha ɛmɛtwerɛ deɛ ɛnsɛ mfata afei Richard Entwibafo nso getting bigger every day beyond the sky. Afei Florence Mafua, I wɔn nyinaa yi aberante na ɔbɛtwerɛ nsɛm wɔn nsɛm fasa no. Afei obi a ɛhwɛ Black Judy na wɔn nyinaa ɛhwɛ Stephen Kwaku su ɛtwerɛ nsɛm hunu paa yɛ a ɛha adwene sɛbi. Seven yɛsrɛ wo yɛansoma wo sɛ fa bra na bɛgyina ha. Ɔba a na ade koro yɛ abɛka yɛn ho. Na deɛ nidie ama deɛ nidie sɛ no. Afei Halif Afɛn na wɔn nyinaa ɛhwɛ Countryside GH Miami nipa ɔno nso hwɛ me. Yɛnyɛ asɛm ketewa paa de fita na ɔso kɔn ase. Yeah, wɔn nyinaa de akoma pa ɛtɛ akyire. Nti abusuafoɔ saa ɛna ɛteɛ. Yɛde ne nyinaa emu amanneɛbɔ asom akosi bɔte nso ɛhwɛ yɛ paa. Wɔn nyinaa de akoma pa ɛtɛ akyire. Abusua ɛkwan no wɔ asɛdeɛ a ɛbɛwie wɔ yɛ abɔbɔ ano na asɔdɔnko so ɛhwɛ yɛ paa afei Benjamin Boateng sɛ ofirimanhyia na ɔda yɛ ase. Mate abɛn Daniel Boahen nso sɛ nyame nhyira otumfoɔ. Afei wɔne aka Elkin B na ɔde ɔbaa namba na ɔhwehwɛ. Ɛy kɛn yɛni aburo. Yɛdi afahyɛ a wobu sɛ ɔbaa namba. Ɔbaa bɛn mi ma hu no ɔda roma. Afei wɔn mu aka nyinaa de akoma pa ɛtɛ akyire. Abusua yɛka sɛ yɛdi akyire a yɛdi adwede akyire so far ɛne ɛbɛhwɛ. The boat say this is great to see our institutions doing the right and rewarding good character over social media correct. Otumfoɔ deserves it all. Ahenepa nkasa mpa nyame kɛse pia a ɔpem so wɔn nkwasɛde nyinaa bɛpem ha na yɛasa da yɛn ho abɛbie mu a deɛ aka bi a yɛwɔ sɛ mu ho yɛbɛsom wɔn na wɔn ho deɛ ɛkɔ so tap cent adabɔ frifin digital business entrepreneurship Honorary Media Institute Asantehene Europe afahyɛ yɛ ɛbɛkɔ so nyame yɛ adom a 13 September ɛde kɔsi 15 September ɛna afei dua nso dua hɛba a ɛyɛ center na ɛsɔ yɛ asene ɛma yɛbɛgye oguama mu ha ɛbɛsom wɔn mede de kwabena wusu kɔsoa no hwɛ Honorary Media ɛnkyɛ yɛbɛsan baabi mu na afahyɛ no mu deɛ ɛkɔ so bia yɛde asom wɔn nyame nka ho makra bye bye.